Hi everyone, my name is Sandrine and I am the Equality Officer. So as part of Equality Week, we have Mamobo. So Mamobo, if you can just introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, my name is Mamobo Ogoro. I am a third year PhD student in the University of Limerick. I am doing my PhD in social psychology and applied linguistics.
Yeah, so thank you so much, Mamobo. So the reason I had you here is in regards to Sanctuary, but also your exciting endeavor with Gorm TV. So for those that don't know, what is the Sanctuary Initiative in UL?
So UL is designated as a university of sanctuary, that meaning that is a university that facilitates the access to education for people who are refugees and asylum seekers here in the Midwest, here in the Limerick area in Ireland. So UL was designated as University of Sanctuary in 2017, and meaning that it had access to the designation from the University of Sanctuaries Ireland and places of sanctuaries in Ireland, and meaning that we take in applications for people who are asylum seekers and refugees that want to access third level education. So I work alongside my PhD. I work as the admin, one of the admins for the program. So the program, like I said, is a program that facilitates access to education. So we do this through scholarships and scholarships and programs of maintenance for the students who want to access that education. And it's for any course in UL, any undergraduate course.
Yeah, and then where can people find more information in regards to this? So like when deadlines for scholarships or anything like that?
So definitely, you can find information in the UL website. If you just do a quick Google UL Sanctuary, the first link will come up will be the Sanctuary webpage on the UL website, or you can email us at ulsanctuary@ul.ie. The applications just opened on the 8th of March, and they are online applications, so there's no documents or anything that we need to send. And then the applications are closing on the 30th of April.
Yeah, so then again, as you mentioned, you are one of the admins. So what has been your experience with that role?
So it had been a very eye-opening experience. The program is very young, and when I started the role as admin, I only worked, let's say, 5 to 10 hours a week. But when I started the role as the admin, the university was in its second year as a university sanctuary, and it was just an eye-opener learning from both the students and my fellow colleagues in the university. But it was just an eye-opener to the resilience that
Mm-hmm.
a lot of sanctuary students have, the drive to education. I know for myself, when I was coming to university from secondary school, like I didn't have to go through certain barriers that sanctuary students had to go to, and I was a bit like, oh sure, look, it'll be grand kind of attitude to education and stuff, like, oh, it's grand. But when I see and I look at a lot of the sanctuary students, the drive that they have to education is amazing to see, and the gratitude that they have for the program as well is amazing. Back then, when I started, there wasn't. Now we have the students scheme, the government granted scheme for asylum seekers that just passed for postgraduate, like 2 days ago, postgraduate courses as well. So that's open there. But when I came into the program, that didn't exist, and this was like the only means for people that were in the asylum seeking process or refugees to have education, have access to education, because otherwise they would have had to be paying international fees, which we know are absorbent for someone who is in the asylum seeking process and in direct provision. So this was the only opportunity that they had to get that third level education and access, become a student, not being in that sort of identity of refugee or being an asylum seeker, just being a student like everyone else. So it was
Mm-hmm.
it's a great thing to see, and it was a great experience for me to witness what we do as the University of Sanctuary.
Yeah, so like when you're not doing your PhD or working as an admin, you're also the co-founder of Gorm. So if you can just let us know a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I have a lot of hats, as you can tell, and I do a lot of things. So Germ is Germ TV. It started as TV, but we want to actually expand it into media because there's a lot of things that we want to do. But it's right now it's a web show and creative network that dissects the social issues that affect Ireland's multicultural generation. So my research is in social psychology mainly and applied linguistics, and I look at the representations of social media representations of multi-ethnic people in Ireland. Myself, I'm Afro-Irish. I was born in northern Nigeria, grew up in Ireland since I was roughly 3 years old. So what I've seen personally, and it's translating in my research through interviews with people of various ethnic backgrounds in Ireland who are also second generation migrants, what we're seeing is that representation is not to the extent that it should be, that is showing the actual true reality of Ireland's multicultural spheres that we have now. So in creating the network, or in creating the project, I wanted to bring a platform that brings these communities together, creates representations that are adequate for people of multi-ethnic backgrounds in Ireland, and curates that common ground between intercultural communities. So what we do in the web show now, we're branching off into articles, interviews and podcasts, and performance and art-based performance. What we do in the web show is we discuss social issues that affect this multicultural millennial and Gen Z generation. The Gen Z generation in Ireland and is the most diverse generation we have seen since Ireland has ever been Ireland. Like it's the most multicultural generation that Ireland has had, and a lot of them, they're children of migrants, myself included. So I wanted to capture that, and I wanted to have conversations in the web show, conversations that mattered, and conversations that we're not really having, and we're not having a lot of nuance in the mainstream media and things like that. So I wanted to bring young voices from multicultural backgrounds, all different backgrounds, including white voices as well, all of them coming together in a space, having conversations that are important and building that common ground. Because without that common ground, there is no unity moving forward. Like I always say, Sandrine's going to get tired of me saying this. I'm on a personal mission to unify the world, and it starts with Ireland. So this project is a way for me to build that common ground, curate that common ground between cultural communities and between that younger generation, because that younger generation are the future politicians, future lawyers, future doctors, future policymakers. So we need to build that common ground moving forward, because we are at a crossroads in Ireland when it comes to this multicultural reality that we are. So we can either follow the path of other countries that have multicultural culturalism within them, or we can create our own path in which we have this unity and unification steering ourselves moving forward. So I'm really passionate about that, and it's just an amalgamation of my passion, my research, and I'm a creative. I love the arts, and all of that, bringing it together. And I have a great team alongside of me who see that vision and see that passion and want that moving forward.
Yeah, no, you definitely seem passionate, and it's a great project. And then, like, what did you feel was necessary to start it?
I think the project was in my head for like 2 years. And because of COVID, we were at a time when everyone was just like reflecting and seeing the world as it was, and everything that happened in 2020, in terms of COVID, Black Lives Matter, the protests. I was just like, it's time. It's time to start this project. It's not a part of your research, but your research is underlying it as well, because the conversations we have, the points that we make, are a lot of them are research based as well. So I was like, it's time to start having these conversations, because when I was looking at the news media and Twitter and Facebook, a lot of the things that we were doing, that people were saying, it really like lacked empathy, lacked understanding of the actual realities that we're in Ireland. And I was like, we need to actually delve in this even more, and we need to have young people talking about these things too, because I think a lot of young people are just like Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok and things like that. I'm like, but we need to actually start talking about these serious issues, whether they may be racism, whether they may be homophobia, Islamophobia, whether they may be mental health, sexuality. All of these things need to be talked about. We need to remove the stigma out of these things and have actual conversations that matter. And for me, like I was saying, I enjoy the arts, I enjoy performance. I have translating these things in performance and translating them in I don't want to say palatable, but putting them in a way that the wider audience can register it and understand it without getting defensive or without putting up their barriers. So I think that's a really, arts is a way that people can really grasp the kind of concepts that we are delving in the web show. Right now we're only online because lockdown, but eventually we want to develop where we meet in person, have the discussions recorded, have different sort of projects that build that common ground between different cultural communities, and translate that in performance. So yeah.
Yeah, no, definitely. And then where can people find more information in regards to Gorm? So you're talking about the different projects you're doing, but also just the ones that you're currently doing now. So where can people find that information?
So we are still building a website, so the website will be out soon, but you can find us on social media at Gorm TV, so GORM_TV. So that's where we are right now. So we're on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. We have some young people doing some really funny, some interactive TikToks that both educate and make us laugh. But we are working on moving from Gorm TV to Gorm Media. So right now we're Gorm TV, but it may eventually change in the future. But yeah, that's where you can find us now. And if you want to email us, you can find us at dini.gorm at gmail.com. So that's DUINE.GORM@gmail.com.
Yeah, perfect. And in regards to, so just the last question, since we're celebrating Equality Week, what does diversity mean to you?
So to me, diversity is a space where, regardless of somebody's background, that person is heard, if you get what I mean. So for me, I see Ireland in the future. This is my fairy dreamland dream of Ireland, of future Ireland when I'm old and frail. But I see future Ireland as a space where we see each other's cultural background. We see the histories that come with that cultural background. We encompass and take that with each other, but then at the same time, we do not treat them any less or any better than we are. Do you get what I mean? So you have those groups. We are together as one. That's how I'm going to put it. So we are together as one, and having that diversity in that space is a crucial part of it. So diversity to me is having all the voices in the room, having all the voices around the table, not one voice being better than the other. And before we get to that space, you need to amplify obviously certain voices. But future Mobo, when I'm like 80, when I say when I'm talking about diversity, is having everyone at a space, having all the voices being heard, having no voice being better than the other, and in issues that matter, amplifying certain voices, but having a space where we are all equal, and sometimes that involves equity, where we are all equal and equal voices, equal partakers in different spaces and different communities.
Yeah, that was brilliant. Thank you so much. And then we will put up the links for all the social media platforms. So thank you so much, Mamobo.
Thank you.